Hi guys, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a lovely sunny Newcastle training ground where I'm sat in the car sheltering from the sun and the wind at the moment. But I'm joined by my able deputy today, Reggie. Reggie, hi pal. My dog Reggie with me today, hanging by my every word. I think he's fed up hearing the words Alexander Isak and Benjamin Sesko. It's doing his head in, I think. But anyway, Reggie, lie down. So I've got him with me today. The big news coming out in the Newcastle training ground today is that Alexander Isak is training on his own away from the group. So Eddie Howe, Newcastle manager, has decided today to have a team bonding session after training. So the players are back in today for the first time since their return from their Asian pre-season tour. Of course, Isak was in yesterday, Tuesday, and he was on Monday on his own as well. Eddie's yet to clap eyes on him. But Eddie Howe has decided to basically uninvite or not invite Alexander Isak to the team bonding session this afternoon, which is it's an incredible sort of situation, really. But I think it shows the strength of feeling how Eddie Howe feels about what has happened with Alexander Isak these past couple of weeks. The fact he didn't train, he didn't turn up for the pre-season tour and then went off to Spain by himself to train at Real Sociedad's training camp. And Eddie Howe found that out through the media, you know, pretty damning. That doesn't look good on Isak. And Eddie Howe spoke on Friday night, didn't he, Sunday night after the Spurs friendly, and said players need to earn their right to train with his football team, or words to those effect. And he's laying down the law, isn't he? Because Alexander Isak today will arrive here at the Newcastle training ground late afternoon and train individually or recuperate or whatever he's doing, get some treatment on his own. Now, what happens before that? The Newcastle team train. They've been training this morning here at the training ground. What time are we at now? Just before 2 o'clock. They finished about an hour ago, and now all the players' families, wives, partners and children have all been invited to the training ground for a team bonding session. There'll be some food, I think barbecue, activities for the youngsters, games, just to have a real kind of session to show that the team spirit here remains strong. Now, it's not been put on today just because of Alexander Isak. Look, it's important to say that the club have these quite often. They have them. Sorry, I was just reading a message that came through there. I'll get back to that later. Sorry, I just got a little bit distracted. So they do have these quite often. They had one last summer. I'm sure they had one at Christmas time. They have them 2 or 3 times, at least twice during the year. But I do think it's interesting that Eddie Howe decided to have it today on the first day back. Lovely sunny day, of course. And we've got this whole situation surrounding Alexander Isak. So look, the interesting line from this is they're having a team bonding session today. All players invited, all family invited, all partners, all children, everyone invited, apart from Alexander Isak. So pretty incredible when you think about it like that. Isak has been told to report late afternoon, I think probably once either the gathering is well underway, I don't know how long it's going to go on, or once it's ended, to report on his own and get treatment and train by himself. So it feels very much like Eddie Howe laying down the law, Eddie Howe giving Alexander Isak a bit of his own medicine, and Eddie Howe saying, look, I'm the boss around here, not you. And I think that just underlines how disappointed Eddie Howe is, or has been, at Alexander Isak's conduct over the last couple of weeks. So an incredible twist, really, that they're having this gathering today to show togetherness, but one player is isolated. But I'm sure many of you will say, well, he's isolated himself. And he has isolated himself, of course he has, by taking himself away from the group, not telling anyone where he was going, and just doing his own thing. So look, it felt like this one might have got not solved, it might have been smoothed over today, but rather than Eddie Howe sitting down and trying to smooth things over, he's laying down the law. And you have to respect that, and you have to say, well, you know, fair play for the way he's gone about it, and it's strong management, isn't it? So let's see how this one plays out. We will be here at the training ground to see if we can see Alexander Isak arriving and departing later, see how long he's here for. And then we'll see where it takes from now on. I've been asked a lot this week, do you think Alexander Isak will feature at the weekend? I've got to say, I would be surprised if Isak if Isak is involved in any of the 2 friendly matches. We'll wait and see. In terms of other potential signings, the Johan Wissa thing is still there. I think Brentford are lining someone up at the moment, and I do expect to have some movement on that in the coming days. As I say, they've softened their stance a bit, Brentford. The player is desperate to come here, and I'm in contact quite a lot with people involved in the deal, and I think that is a deal that Newcastle will do. Whether it's the next couple of days or by the weekend, I don't know. But it's the kind of deal, I'm told, that once a decision is made by Brentford and they've got someone in, it could happen really quickly. Like, I think personal terms won't be a problem. Everything's fine on the player's side. He will just get himself up here as soon as possible. But please remember, and this is something that's coming out wrong, I'm seeing it on Twitter and different places, he is not a replacement for Alexander Isak. Johan Wissa is the replacement for Callum Wilson. So Sesko would have been the replacement for Isak, but obviously that now looks unlikely with him favouring a move to Manchester United, even though Newcastle's offer is bigger than Manchester United's. It's an incredible situation, this really is. I think the one bit of consolation you can take out of this is at least if he does go to Manchester United as expected, at least you've driven the price up. You've driven the price up for Manchester United. They've had to pay more because you've been at the table and created a bidding war. So it looks likely that he's destined for Man United. What I will say as I sit here right now at 2 o'clock, Reggie, quiet. What I'll say as I sit here at 2 o'clock, I don't expect. It's not I don't expect. Newcastle have yet to be told no by either the player or Leipzig. So as far as they're concerned, it's still alive, it's still in the background, and they've not given up hope. But look, if a player wants to join Manchester United, and that is honest, although Newcastle have been told that he would be keen to move here. So look, I think he's just keeping Newcastle open in case the Manchester United things fall through. That's what it looks like to me. But why would Newcastle just drop out of it until they are told, until their offer's been rejected? And it hasn't. Leipzig have essentially accepted it, and if the player until the player tells them a straight no, they're going to keep it open because they really like the player. They've worked on him for years. They've done a lot of due diligence and homework on him. If of course he goes to Manchester United, it's going to be so hard to take, because then Man United's front three next season will be Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo. 3 players Newcastle tried to sign, and in the shape of Sesko and Mbeumo, 2 players they got quite far down Sesko they've got right to the very, very end point with. So look, frustrating times, very, very frustrating times, because I think Newcastle feel that Sesko, they thought on Monday that Sesko was their man, he was going to be a Newcastle player, and then Man United have stolen a march on them. And look, Manchester United, yes, they're probably offering more money, they've still got the pool of them being huge club institution, and yeah, so let's see what happens. But Newcastle are still there, they're still hoping that a deal can be resurrected, that things will change, and then of course then the knock-on effect will then see Isak probably reignite those talks with Liverpool. But yeah, the Johan Wissa deal is separate. He's a replacement for Wilson and not the replacement for Isak. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens this afternoon when Isak arrives, hear what comes out of that. But yeah, big line today, I have to say. Alexander Isak here, instructed to train on his own after the rest of the Newcastle players and their families and their children and their wives and partners have left. So really intriguing situation there. It feels like that story's not going to go away, but Eddie Howe showing his management skills and saying, look, the team is bigger than one individual. And he said it after the Spurs game. He said, look, a player needs to earn the right to train and be part of the group. So he's clearly shown that with Alexander Isak. So that's me getting shouted by my cameraman to go off and do another live into the 2 o'clock. So I'll be heading off to do that, and if there's any updates throughout the afternoon, I will have them on my channel. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please leave your comments below. Please do subscribe if you haven't done already. I should have said this at the beginning, but I was a little bit distracted by Reggie Boy being here. Oh, heard his name there. And we will see you soon. And by the way, just to say, Anna Ramsdale's in today with the rest of the squad. And as far as I'm aware, the rest of the players all there on the back of that trip to Korea and Singapore last week. So that's it from me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.